I'm really excited about the project. The elephant in the room, as you saw in the film, Chris chose not to give a 2011 interview. It's not something that I take personal, we take personal, the fellas took personal. He just felt for whatever reason he didn't want to address the issues that involved him, or for that matter, talk about anything. It wasn't like you have to do an interview and talk about a scandal or talk about the timeout. You could talk about anything. We just would be happy to get you on camera. So that was disappointing, but hopefully he'll find that salvation in his life that, you could bring some sort of closure to it. Like I told him, I wish all I had to say was, I called timeout. You think I want to be sitting there with my grandmother on Sunday talking about me being in the crack house? No, I don't want to talk about that, man. That's what I told him. But again, I'm really excited about the piece, and I think people are going to enjoy it when they see it on Sunday.
We had some success with the 30 for 30, and coming after that success, went back to a conversation we had, and Jalen's star not only was rising, but I think more importantly, there's a lot of wrangling. I mean, when you look at the depth and texture of that film, and you look at the different people that were talked to, Juwan is in the middle of another complete other circus with what's going on with the Miami Heat right now. It took a lot to do that, and again, his leadership helped it. And then once the director, Jason Hare, who's not here, has done some work for HBO. He does his thing. He really had a good grip on all the issues, and that was something to make sure we got it covered from the journalistic side. But he jumped on it, and Jalen did his thing, and that's how we collapsed it pretty quickly. Yes, sir.
Great film. Thanks a lot for being here. What is your opinion of the state of college basketball today? In particular, still amateur athletes and the money making that goes on with colleges themselves. Have your opinions evolved over time since your college days?
I felt like I felt in Europe. I feel that a lot of people that aren't athletes, that can't look at things sensible, they get jealous when you say athletes should get paid. And when I say get paid, I don't mean like get rich. I mean like a couple of grand a semester so that you can have meal money. That eliminates temptation. So when you don't have that opportunity, you have so many people coming from so many different backgrounds, you see the issues that you see today. For example, at Ohio State, everybody knows Terrell Pryor. They win the Big Ten championship. He like, thanks very much, but I'm about to sell this ring. And that's the reality of life. And when I went to the University of Michigan, I tried to have an apartment, I started getting a light bill. That's the first time you start learning how to take care of yourself. I wasn't calling home trying to get my mom to pay my bills in college. She had a hard time paying the bills when I was at home. So now you become a young man and you're part of a $1 billion industry. Billion. It's a drop in the bucket for them to give. Each major college has around 400 athletes. It would be nothing to give them $2,000 a semester. Nothing. But they just choose not to do it. And that creates temptation, and that's why you're going to see the situation where you see with Cam Newton. You see multiple coaches get suspended this year, Jim Calhoun, Tressel, Tom Izzo, and that's just the domino effect of it.
Ma'am, good to talk.
Jalen, is there any chance that the banners will be pulled out of the basement and hung again, maybe after 2013, we're starting a petition or something like that so we can get them up and not have those years erased that all of us were a part of and enjoyed, and to have that taken down to that empty space is very painful.
Yes, I agree. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that this piece was done, because I felt like everybody that was a part of that, as you mentioned, deserves it. And those were sanctions levied by the school, which means in 2013, just like they made a decision. Now, granted, I left school in '94. You saw that came down in 2003. So there was already a separation. It wasn't what you see normally. When you watch the college games, notice how the good college players, they get celebrated by their universities, and rightfully so. Like, I see some guys get their numbers retired and I don't even know who they are. So I hope in 2013, pieces like this help that process. And as Dave Brandon mentioned in the piece, Chris is a big part of that. And him discussing his transgressions or whatever, directly, indirectly, and just apologizing for it. You know what? My bad. I made a mistake. I was a college kid. Things happen. I'm eating now. I'm on TNT. I'm good. That's what we want to do. But hopefully it will soon.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned Chris Webber did not work for the piece or didn't interview. What about Ray Jackson?
Ray Jackson was prominent in the piece.
Not as much as Jimmy King and the others, but...
Yeah, we tried to, when you're doing a piece on 5 personalities, that's the most important thing. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I want everybody to be at home watching this piece that's a part of it and be proud of it. And whether it's Chris Webber or whether it's Ray Jackson, it was very important to capture everybody's story and how they felt about it. That's why in the piece, we got Ray, when he was talking about what pained you, Ray, it pained me feeling like the 5th wheel of the Fab Five. I felt like I wanted to transfer. I didn't want to be there. And that took a lot for him to say, I'm sure. Because to me, if anybody had a right to not want to participate, it probably could have been him. So that's why I love him like a brother and respect him for doing it.
Yes, sir.
Jay, we're all friends, like you said, in here, and we love you, we love Chris. How would you describe your relationship with Chris at this point, being that he didn't participate in the program?
We still cool. Like, he was at my place in LA, and I thought he was going to do it. Put him in contact with the people from ESPN, set up a date to come shoot it. We're going to change the date. We're going to do it next week. We're going to do it next week, and tomorrow. We're going to do it. And it just never happened. So it's not something that I take personal. If I see him tonight, it's going to be like it was then. But he, for whatever reason, chose not to participate in this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jay, once again, how are you perceived at the University of Michigan? Now, I was watching a few games, and I seen you and Jimmy King in the stands and the audience. Are the fans, are they rebellious against you all for what went on back then, or are they accepting you and realizing that, hey, you are a part of our school, we still love you, we recognize you, that's one of us?
There was a level of arrogance that happened at Michigan. You've seen it happen at Notre Dame also. And what happens sometimes when you're a prestigious university, you feel like people coming because of you. And what happened with the Fab Five and taking the banners down, they thought that they would still have a thriving program. But they've made the tournament once in 13 years. So you can't truly move on and have the success of a prominent program until you embrace some of the people that the world know help put you on the map. Because the kids that are coming out now, 17, 18, their parents watch the Fab Five. So I can't be on the phone trying to get Terrell Pryor to come to Michigan. He like, what happened to the banners? So it puts everybody in an awkward position, and hopefully that's something they'll reconcile in 2013. But the fans show us love. I was real bitter personally about how everything happened, and I didn't go back to Michigan from '94 until like 3 years ago. So there was a big separation.
I think it was Jimmy who said that he hasn't talked to Chris to this day about the timeout. Have you had that conversation with him, and how has that gone?
Yeah, I have. Why didn't you give me the ball, man? But no, in all honesty, you win and lose as a team. So it's like, it happened, you made a mistake. After the game, I'm thinking other stuff. Like, I'm thinking, man, I should have made that 3 I took. That would have tied the game. Like, that's what I'm thinking as a player. But as you fast forward it now, it happened. It's 2 scores. It's the score of the game. It's Gore the game of life. And for whatever reason, he didn't mean for us to win 2 championships, but we're just lucky that we're trying to win in the game of life. And shout out to Freddie Hunter, who's in the house too. One of my former teammates, he was in there.
Yes, sir.
Jalen, Michigan grad. This is a heart-wrenching story. My heart is still beating.
Thank you.
I'm on the stage with you right now.
Appreciate it.
What are the 1, 2, 3 things you want us to leave here with that you knew you wanted us to leave here with when you were making this film?
First and foremost, that we were college kids. So there were things that we did that were responsible. There were things that we did that were stupid. There were times when we were able to articulate ourselves. There were times when we were ignorant and immature. So that was part of the college experience. Another thing is that we had to grow up so fast. Like, I remember watching in Anderson Hunt's house, who went to UNLV, that Duke team beat UNLV when they were undefeated. And I cried when they lost. I didn't know I'd be playing against Duke the next year in the finals. So that's how fast my life went. That's how fast our lives went. And we really wanted to get that across. We also wanted to get across the personality of each player.
18, 19 years later, how y'all feel about this wedding or not?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I didn't. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but it's true. I didn't like him before I met him. So he didn't have to do nothing for me personally not to like him. But with that being said, really what that was, it was more, when you sign to go to Michigan or UNLV or play football at the U, you are viewed one way. When you sign to go to Duke, Indiana, Notre Dame, you're viewed another way. And either you fight it or embrace it. We not only embrace it, but we put it on steroids and took it all the way there. So, not a fan. Actually, I got a lot of respect for Grant Hill. And when I said the Uncle Tom comment, like, people was blowing me up on Twitter. Some people was mad, you a racist, or, you know, really was trying to take what I said out of context. So I made sure I sent him, you know, a public shout. And he hit me back and he told me he got love for me, he understands. But the reality of it is, this is true. That's what we called them when we played them. So I didn't make that up. Like, he knows, I know, everybody knows. It was a book done by Gene Wojciechowski about the Duke team. He interviewed everybody about the book. Brian Davis, Thomas Hill, Grant Hill, they all told him, yeah, that's what they called us. And I'm going to tell you something else that people never say. When you really watch that play, Derek Phelps and George Lynch thought we had a timeout also. They were doubled. Phelps was my man. He left me to double team Chris. You know how you shadow somebody when you just wave at them, you think they're going to call a timeout. When he pivoted, I thought he was going to throw me the ball because I was wide open. Because my man was double teaming him. That was my man. So initially, I wanted to get the outlet pass. Then he traveled. So I was like, they ain't call it. So as he dribbling up the floor, I'm kind of following the play, trying to see what's going to happen. And I swear to this day, when he pivoted and he turned around, I just knew he was going to throw me the ball. He called timeout.
Well, if you look at the play, he actually was going to call the timeout once he got
exactly.
And he stopped himself, and I thought he was going to pass it to you as well, but you didn't come back. So I said, Jalen.
Well, I guess I could have ran and smacked him upside the head and told him to give me the ball, but I did clap my hands 3 times. I don't know. That's what you do as a point guard. Back to the sideline, say outlet, clap your hands, get the ball, try to make a play. It just didn't happen that way. I love you guys. Thank y'all for coming. Go Blue.